welcome to Galloping Ahead, how to handle setbacks, challenges, critics, and defeats. I'm Sue Hornstein, Director of Regulatory Compliance.
I'm Leslie Anderson, RVP for Central West.
Al Grossknuckle, Regional Vice President, Northwest Region.
And John Colby, Regional Vice President of Fun. There you go. I was like, I'll just think of something.
Very accurate.
Thanks. All right, yeah.
So you heard about Rich Strike last night. Our room is focused or centered on Rich Strike the horse. So Rich Strike was not expected to win the Kentucky Derby, as you know, and these were the odds for the Kentucky Derby on the day he ran with the other horses that he was running against. And we want John to explain odds.
So yeah, does anybody understand how odds work? Does anybody not know? Okay, so yeah, for people shaking their heads. So basically what they're saying is like 3-1 odds. Say if you ran 3 races, this horse will probably win once out of the 3. So that good odds that horse is going to win. Like 91's not good odds. Like most of the time they race, that one's not going to win. Now for those of you that cool. For those of you that gamble, this is the challenge. And by the way, I've been telling everybody, don't gamble. Like raise your hand if you've ever been to like a real nice casino. You know how much that costs? That's from all the money you lost. That's why I would say don't. If you want to gamble, sure. But when you want to gamble, you can go 3-1 odds. You're not going to win a lot of money because that's most likely to win. But you go with the 91-1 odds, you're going to win a lot of money if they win, but they're not likely to win. So that's the challenge. You got to find which horse in there is going to get you the best odds to win good money, but then also actually win. So here we go. Here's how we're going to play the game.
So here's the game, and I want you to guess the odds of Rich Strike when he won the race. So you can only stand up once. So any of you that thought the odds for Rich Strike was 3-1, stand up. If any of you thought the odds was 25-1, stand up. If anyone thought it was 42-1, stand up. 67-1, stand up. And we're going to remember who you're standing. All right, thank you. Sit down. 80-1, stand up.
Bingo.
You are the winners.
Stay standing. Stay standing.
Stay standing, and we're giving you $1.
Once you get your $1, you can have a seat. Make sure and take those bucks with you tonight to the dinner. You can use those to enter into the raffle. Right?
So for anyone who doesn't understand the dollars, you put your name on them. There'll be a baskets at the dinner tonight that you can put whichever one you're interested in having, and you put your name in, and there'll be a drawing for that basket. So the more dollars you have, the more baskets you can put in, or the more baskets, one basket you can put your...
The better your odds.
The better your odds.
We welcome you to the 148th Kentucky Derby.
To me, we won just getting in. We've never been there before. We might not ever get back again. There was no pressure.
The long shot of the race, Rich Strike.
And my biggest thing was I wanted respect for Richie after the race.
I know the odds are really long at 79-1, but what have we learned about the Derby? You never know.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
I didn't think he would win the race. I thought he could win the race.
As they race tires for the first time, it will be Summers tomorrow to lead the way.
And I said, Eric, if we can just finish in the middle of the pack, look what an accomplishment we have.
That opening half mile was, whoa, blazing fast.
I said, Sonny, if you can turn for home with 6 or 7 in front of you, you can win.
Now Epicenter is moving up quickly.
He's exactly where you had envisioned it and felt like he was good enough to win it.
I lost Richie. I could not see him anywhere.
I found a lot of traffic, and then I say I have to wait to the stretch.
Then all of a sudden there's a gap, and I said, Sonny's going to take that gap. I know he is. If he doesn't, he'll regret it for the rest of his life.
Epicenter and Sanchez, these two, strive for his life.
The last one I expected to be making that late move was Rich Strike.
this is the moment. Epicenter repelled Sandan's bid, and lo and behold, here comes Rich Strike.
I didn't realize he was about to catch Epicenter and horses that were on the lead. I don't even see him.
Man, he just kicked in and hit another gear.
15 yards before the wire, I say, I think I got that race.
Oh my goodness! The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby! Rich Strike has done it in a stunning, unbelievable upset!
Technical issues.
It's fine. It's a nightmare every time. Why is it advancing there?
Flipping there, but not.
Yeah. You will see what I see now, right? And then when I hit this, you'll go to this. And when I push this, a well-oiled machine. Just leave it like that. They can see it. I'm not going to worry about it.
Speaking of setbacks,
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Everyone is up. So talking about Rich Strike, nearly 6 years ago, Reed, the owner of Rich Strike, almost called it quits from the horse training business. A fire engulfed one of the barns at the Lexington Center in the middle of December, killing 23 thoroughbred horses and causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. Reed thought that was the end of the line for him, but he decided to keep on going. They saved 13 horses but lost 23. Reed says out of that tragedy came glory of the 2022 win of Rich Strike. Rich Strike's first race finished last. Rich Strike had only raced 7 times prior to the Kentucky Derby. 2021, Rich Strike was purchased for $30,000. Most horses cost $500,000 to several millions. Rich Strike did not have the qualifying points to enter the Kentucky Derby, as we heard last night. Through the horse scratching, Rich Strike was asked to run. Rich Strike was in the outside post position. He ran 18th for the first half mile. He won by 3/4 of a length, as you guys just saw. First grade win for the jockey, and this horse was born to run. It's amazing. Setbacks and wins. That's what we're going to talk about today. So here's my story of setback. I was a director of long-term care at the State Department of Health in Indiana. We had a council meeting that we held monthly, where a council meeting was made up of providers, advocates, pharmacists, medical directors, mental health individuals. We had 20-some people in the room. We were in the State Department of Health, and we hear this banging on the door. The door was closed. Heard banging on the door, and the advocates were picketing outside the long-term care council meeting, complaining that we were not holding the long-term care facilities accountable. They stated nursing home residents were being harmed due to lack of timely complaint investigations. So the Indianapolis Star picks this up and published many articles related to the poor care delivered. And one of them is right up there. It says, state accused of going easy on troubled nursing homes. And then they put an article in the paper, an editorial, that said the state surveyors were like Mr. Magoo. And you know who? And if you know who Mr. Magoo is, he's a blind cartoon character. And that was the cartoon. And that's my setback story from IDOH, or ISDH back then. So today we're going to talk about setback critics and defeats. We're going to define setbacks, critics, and defeats. We're going to talk about facing setbacks. We're going to talk about techniques to overcome setbacks, and we're going to talk about resources. Understanding setbacks. What is a setback? A setback is an unexpected obstacle or challenge that hinders progress or success. It can occur in various aspects of life, such as personal goals, professional endeavors, or projects. Setbacks can be frustrating, but they can also offer opportunities for growth and learning. three types of setbacks. We have personal setbacks, environmental, and professional. Personal is injuries, illness, mental health issues, relationship challenges, loss of all types of partners, child, job, home. Environmental, natural disasters such as fire, flood, tornado, or professional. Professional include financial difficulties, not meeting budget, unexpected changes in circumstances, change in a supervisor, change in a favorite coworker, change in an ED, change in a DNS. Lack of resources, we don't have enough staff, or inadequate supplies. Lack of support, IDT members don't get along. That's a setback in itself. Failure to meet expectations, we don't meet our 5-star goals. Failure to meet deadlines, we don't meet occupancy expectations. Unforeseen obstacles, resident elopes, staff to resident abuse causing significant injury. We've had a few of those, or an immediate jeopardy identified. That is an absolute setback for 3 years.
Cool. So now what we want to do is give you some time to kind of think on your own setbacks. And this is kind of a vulnerable area. So basically, we're going to give you time to turn and talk to somebody. If you want to talk about it, if you're focusing right now on a personal setback, whether it's personal or professional, but you don't really want to share it, I would encourage you to write some notes. If you have pen and paper, you can write about it. If you don't, you can literally take out your phone and write a note. But we want to take some time and reflect on a setback that's happened. And I'll say the more recent, the better. And ideally, you have one right now. I hope you're all struggling. No. But what I'm saying, if you have something right now, as you're hearing Sue's story or you're hearing the Rich Strike story, and you're thinking about your own struggles, whether it's one of the professional ones listed here or in the slide before it, in those different areas where it talks about, if you can go back one slide for me, Al, the different areas of personal, professional, or environmental where something has hindered you and it stopped your success or kept you from it. Once you kind of reflect on that and talk to somebody about what happened, what went wrong, why did it go wrong, kind of reflect on all those kind of things. And then we're going to kind of give you some help. So if you do have a current setback that you're struggling with, we're going to give you some resources that'll help you, but it's important you kind of reflect on that first. So talk or take some time to write about it. Go for it. Okay, we're going to pull it back together if we can. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I messed up, and there is no fail. I mean, there is no mistake, so I didn't fail. But I did forget to mention, when we have we're going to have a couple more breakouts like this to talk. I would prefer that you would turn and talk to one-on-one or maybe 2-on-1, so it's small groups, instead of the whole table, because with bigger groups, if you're all just taking the time to listen to one person, not everybody might get a chance to share their story. So break off into smaller groups for the next one, okay? Sorry I forgot to tell you. Now on to Al.
All right, facing setbacks, critics, and defeats. Pause and breathe. Take a moment. Let yourself feel what you're feeling. Frustration, disappointment, anger. It's okay. Be kind to yourself. Self-compassion is not a weakness. It can be a fuel. For resilience, don't take it personally. This one's always been a tough one for me because I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeve. And, but like you said this morning, don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself because it's already a tough situation the way it is. So use it as motivation. Setbacks can be incredibly motivating. Use the setback as a catalyst to push yourself harder and achieve even greater things. How do you turn a negative into a positive? Reset your mindset. A setback does not define you. It redirects you. Look for the silver lining. How do you turn lemons into lemonade, right? Reflect, adjust your plan, not your goal. You may need to take a different route, but does not mean giving up. Collaboration and support. Don't isolate, use your network. Talk to someone who encourages you and helps you see things more clearly. And respond with grace. Stay professional even when others aren't.
Yeah, so a couple things here. I'm gonna give you some more time to talk, but I want you to kind of reflect on two different areas. One, where it's you. Two, where it's people that you help or that you parent or whatever. So basically, my question first is, when you look at the setback that you just talked about, if it happened in the past, what did you do? If it's something that you're currently doing, what should you do? And then if you're talking about the people on your staff or the people in your personal life, how do you help them figure these out? Right? Different things work for different people. Let me ask this. Raise your hand if, like, when you read this list, you already know which one you default to. Yeah, a decent number of hands are going up. Here's my question. Is it working? And I'm not saying that in a positive way or a negative way. And I see some head nods and one person goes, is it working? And they go, how many are they like, well, sometimes it depends on, right? So the same strategy isn't always going to work. I told this story and I think it's fun, so I'm going to tell it again. If you don't like it, just leave. You have free will, right? When I was in college, I went to school for theater and communication. And in one of my communication classes, it was just called persuasion. So everything we did was just persuasive speeches. And one of the ones we had to do was called a speech to a hostile audience, meaning you have to pick a topic to give a speech on that you don't think people are going to like, that you think they're going to disagree with. And so my topic was, you should make fun of people more often. And not like joking around with your friends, but like mean-spirited make fun of people. And right, and that sounds horrible, but I was very proud of the content because basically you can hear a million, we were even talking about this during the break, there are a million stories out there about people that got made fun of. And then they went on to be like Mr. Universe Muscle Man, right? That might be the most unmacho I've ever sounded. Like, oh, Mr. Universe Muscle Man walking around with it, right? The other story is like Michael Jordan didn't make the varsity team his sophomore year in high school. And actually the coach said, you might want to consider a different sport. Like you don't, and he was kind of naming all the things he was, just like rip it into him, say you weren't good at this and this and this. And Michael Jordan used that and even says in there, use it as a catalyst to push yourself harder. And he talks about like that year, he worked his butt off. And if you've never heard of Michael Jordan, Google him. He did some pretty impressive stuff. Screw you, LeBron. But the concept here is when you're in that setback moment, you're allowed to be upset, you're allowed to feel the emotions, but after you get past that first wave of upset or panic or whatever, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Face it. And then what also can you do to help your teams? So again, take some time to talk about it, but not as a whole table, as small groups. Go.
So I'll tell you my setback, okay?
This is before the hair was cut. Look how long it is, right? But this is her wearing a Rapunzel dress. I woke up an hour later, quiet in the house. 3 in the afternoon, quiet with 2 little kids. I'm like, no, my wife is there. And immediately I'm like, uh-oh. And I go, Georgia, what's wrong? And she won't say anything. And then
All right, techniques to overcome the setbacks. Evaluate what led to the setback, what was in your control, what wasn't, what could be done differently next time. Strategize, create an action plan to address the issue and achieve your goals. Who, what can support you? Determine the root cause, ask the 5 whys. Engage, take action, identify how to move forward. Trust, believe in the process and in yourself, and find a mentor. I've been very fortunate to have many mentors in my life and career, and they serve you well with good counsel.
You can do the next slide.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm wired.
She's also wearing.
I'm wired more ways than one. So how did I overcome my setback when I was at the State Department of Health? And it was tough. It was a long road. We acknowledged the long-term care had areas to improve on. We developed an atmosphere of openness and cooperation with advocates and providers. We developed a work plan and monitored the work plan shared with all staff, focusing on complaint investigations. We educated surveyors on expectations. We reallocated and added staff to complaint investigations and survey responsibilities. This was a real win for the State Department of Health. We got to add surveyors, and we added a supervisor. Back then we had 5, we went to 6 areas, so that was a big accomplishment in itself. We met with advocates, ombudsmen, and providers monthly on the progress that we achieved. We received feedback from all those parties and reacted accordingly. We continued to improve the processes. We worked on consistency between surveyors and supervisors. We continued to adjust the work plan. We continued to look for consistency. So as a result of all that, the governor received an award due to the improvements made in long-term care. He received the Hubert Clodfelter Long-Term Care Award. And then improvement was acknowledged. We received an editorial from the Star saying that we had a welcome resolve. So the editorial from Mr. Magoo, the blind surveyors, to welcome resolve. Yeah. We received kudos from it was Paul Severance, who was a big advocate at that time, giving us kudos along with the award. That's how I overcame that setback.
And the resources. So you want to do the?
Oh, sorry. Yep. Sorry, forgot. Resources to overcome the setbacks, critics, and defeats. Meet with your mentor. We just talked about that. Meet with colleagues. Utilize the chaplain program that we have available. Utilize the employee assistance program that we have available, and use a copy program for professional. If you have a professional defeat.
You can leave it. You can leave
Okay,
it. Go back
that's
to
right.
that slide that was just on. So we're gonna give you some time to talk now, and we want to leave you better equipped. So the next time you are faced with a setback, you'll kind of have a plan. So we're gonna give you another 5. We keep doing these like 5-minute talk times. A couple of different things you can talk about. And some that I didn't mention all morning, like Sue shared the positive resolution, and we all clapped. Did any of you have a setback that you shared that had a good resolution? If so, please share that. Yeah, I'm seeing some head nods. So share that out with your group. What led to that, right? But then also, I want you to kind of think about the next time you're faced with that. Like we talked about, like kind of how do you cope with it? But then now, how do you move forward with it? So here at work, there are those things. But then if we go back even further, hit the left one to go back, right, left, and one more, right there. There's all these different techniques. So which one do you do? We are encouraging you to pick 3 between those resources available at work or in your personal life. Choose 3. And I'll tell you, what I found very interesting is like Sue found this different list of different things you could try. Like my advice is all of this. And I know that sounds overwhelming, but I like science. I'm a big nerd. Shocker, right? But this is like in my head, this is kind of like a scientific process. The first thing you do is you evaluate. You like assess what you're dealing with. Then you strategize, and that's kind of like making your hypothesis. And then you determine the root cause, and you kind of figure out a plan, and then engage. And that's like do the experiment. And the scientific community is very well known for like talking to each other and like having mentors, and then trust and believe in the process. It takes a while to figure these things out, but you test these things over and over, and then eventually you figure out what works and doesn't. So kind of talk about which of these do you do? Which one are you good at? Which one are you bad at? Which one, like I automatically do these things. So when you're listing your 3, these are the ones I should focus on. And one thing I really like, the first one says evaluate, like evaluate what happened to the setback. Can you push it to the right one time for me? On that one, the very first thing on Sue's list, acknowledge we had areas to improve. Like, and this is the hard one, folks. Like when we're realizing, hey, what went wrong? The question is like, what did you do wrong first? And if the answer is like nothing, I'm like, okay, you sound like a child. Because like there's always some part in it. I actually just had a friend who lost her job / quit. I don't know 100% the details, but we went to lunch a couple weeks ago and we started chatting about it. She's like, well, they do this and they do this and they do this. And this woman, when I was a teacher, she student taught with me. So I know how she operates in her day to day. For 4 months, I saw her work every day and I was kind of guiding her along. So I know her personality. And so I asked her, I'm like, well, what did you do? And she's like, well, and I again, she would kind of dance around it. And I'm like, before we go on to what advice I have or where I think I can help you, I need to know where you were wrong. And we can sit quiet and I'm going to eat my sandwich. And that's literally what I said. I'm going to eat my sandwich. And when you have some ideas, and then immediately she started naming some things like, well, I didn't do this and I could have done that. I'm like, here we go. So, okay, so you work on that, and then they need to work on this. So you need to find a job and then we can get into it. But again, if you can't be like honest with yourself, like we're stuck at square one and we're going to deal with the same problems over and over. So, and I'm not saying that it's all your fault, but whenever there's two parties, and if you can go, who all's married in here? If you can start your conversation with taking ownership of something, it changes the entire temperature of the room. Like, because if you're not going to take any blame, I'm going to come at you. But if right away you take the blame, like who's seen 8 Mile starring Eminem? Right? For those of you that haven't seen it, this is not a spoiler alert. You had 20 years to see this movie. So he's a poor white guy in Detroit, and he's going to go into a rap battle, and he makes it to the finals. And when he gets into the finals, he knows he's going to get made fun of for being poor and white. So what's he do? He right away, he's like, I'm poor, I'm white. He raps it, so it sounds a lot better than that. And then the other guy has nothing to say. So when you walk in and take ownership of your mistakes, the other person can't come at you because you already called it out. Do what?
I said I do live in a trailer park.
Go around the outside. Around the outside. Around the outside. Cool? So like I said, I want you to talk about what strategies you want from this list. I want you to talk about the wins that you've had. And then again, how you might have used these to find those wins. Okay? Discuss.
So we're not doing the wrong. And so if I want
All right, make your joke, Al. Where are we at? No, we're in the home stretch. That's what Al said earlier. I'm like,
All right, guys, we're on the home stretch.
it's a horse joke.
Keep learning and growing. If you're given feedback, listen to it. If you are not getting feedback, ask for it. Self-reflection can provide valuable insights and help identify areas for improvement. Use a setback as a chance to learn, grow, and overcome. Believe in your abilities and skills. I can do this. I can bounce back. So pull out your commitment cards. Call to commitment. Get your commitment card out and add to your commitment card.
Yeah, you already kind of came up with it. Now just choose. There's 3 spots on there. So what are 3 things, whether when we talked about like taking the deep breath and those things when we were giving you those techniques or some of those resources, what are 3 things the next time you have some type of setback, we want the 4 of us to pop up on your shoulder like the little angel in the cartoons and be like, hey, you're ready for this moment, right? And to kind of guide you through it. So choose the 3 things that kind of resonated with you. And if you don't remember, some of them are on, you want to go back a couple slides. Some of them are on this, will be on the slide, but also talk to your teammates if you need to. And then once you do that, make sure and grab a rose and put it in your trophy. Then you're free to go.